Have you ever pondered why some people can effortlessly navigate life's challenges while others struggle? It all boils down to habits. Habits form the bedrock of our character, and as Aristotle rightly stated, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. So, let's delve into the 7 habits that effective people share. Habits that are not innate, but can be learned. Acquiring these habits can shape your character and set you up for success. The first habit is proactivity. This habit is about taking charge of your life, influencing the outcomes of events rather than being at their mercy. It is the realization that you are the architect of your destiny. The second habit is beginning with the end in mind. This habit is about goal setting. It's about knowing where you want to go before you start the journey. It's about visualizing the end result and working towards it. The third habit is putting first things first. This habit is about prioritizing. It's about focusing your time and energy on things that are important and not just urgent. It's about aligning your daily actions with your goals. The fourth habit is think win-win. This habit is about seeking mutual benefit in all interactions. It's about striving for solutions that are advantageous to all parties involved. It's about fostering relationships based on mutual respect and cooperation. The fifth habit is seek first to understand, then to be understood. This habit is about empathetic listening. It's about understanding others' perspectives before sharing your own. It's about building trust and creating an open environment for communication. The sixth habit is synergize. This habit is about teamwork. It's about leveraging individual strengths to achieve collective goals. It's about realizing that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. The seventh habit is sharpen the saw. This habit is about self-renewal. It's about regularly rejuvenating your physical, mental, and spiritual self. It's about keeping the balance to maintain and increase effectiveness. These 7 habits are not a quick fix. They require a deep commitment to personal growth. They demand the courage to step out of your comfort zone and the patience to persist through the process. But rest assured, the rewards are worth the effort. As Thomas Paine stated, "What we obtain too cheap, we esteem too lightly. 'Tis dearness only which gives everything its value." So, to recap, the 7 habits of effective people are proactivity, beginning with the end in mind, putting first things first, thinking win-win, seeking first to understand, then to be understood, synergizing, and sharpening the saw. These habits are not just about personal effectiveness. They are about personal transformation. They are about reshaping your character, redefining your values, and reinventing yourself to become the best version of yourself. Develop these habits and watch your life transform in ways you never thought possible.
Have you ever questioned who is truly in charge of your life? Well, the answer is simple yet profound. You are. The concept of proactivity, though not found in every dictionary, is a cornerstone of personal development literature. It proposes that as humans, we are the architects of our own lives. Consider the story of a group in the home improvement industry. In the midst of a heavy recession, their business was suffering significantly. The mood was somber as they began a seminar discussing the harsh realities of their situation. They had to lay off friends just to keep their business afloat. The first day ended with spirits even lower than before. The second day, the group pondered about the future, concluding that things might worsen before they improved. This realization only added to their despair. However, on the third day, the conversation took a turn. They shifted their focus to the proactive question: what is our response? They brainstormed practical ways to manage better, cut costs, and increase market share. By focusing on actionable steps, the group finished the seminar with newfound hope and enthusiasm, ready to face their reality with a proactive mindset. So, how can you identify if you are a proactive person? It's in the language you use. Do you often say things like, "That's just the way I am," or "I have to do it"? These phrases suggest a reactive mindset, one that feels controlled by circumstances rather than taking charge of them. For all of us, there are things that concern us that we may not be able to change immediately. However, there are also things we can influence. Proactive people focus on their circle of influence, the people and things they can directly impact, rather than dwelling on their wider circle of concern. By doing so, they gradually expand their sphere of influence. Embracing proactivity does not mean you will never make mistakes. In fact, you will. But the proactive way to handle a mistake is to acknowledge it instantly, correct it, and learn from it. Remember, as T.J. Watson Sr., the founder of IBM, said, "Success is on the far side of failure." Here's a challenge for you. For the next 30 days, focus on your circle of influence, make small commitments to yourself and others, and keep them. Be a light, not a judge, a model, not a critic. Be the solution, not the problem. If you are tempted to believe that a significant problem in your life is out there, stop yourself. That thought is the problem. Proactivity is not just a concept, it's a way of life. It's about taking responsibility, taking action, and taking control. It's about carrying your own weather, regardless of the storm around you. So ask yourself again, who is in charge of your life?
Ever pondered over the one thing you aren't doing now, that if done regularly, would revolutionize your personal or business life? Today's topic of discussion orbits around one such transformative habit. Habit 3, putting first things first. This habit is all about self-leadership and self-management. It's about identifying the first things and having the discipline to execute them. As the esteemed Peter Drucker has highlighted, time management is somewhat a misnomer. We cannot manage time, but we can manage ourselves. It's about organizing and executing around priorities, rather than trying to cram all our activities into a set time frame. We all grapple with the same predicament, the battle between the urgent and the important. Urgent tasks demand immediate attention. They're visible, they press on us, but may not contribute to our long-term goals. Important tasks, conversely, contribute to our mission, our values, our high-priority goals. We react to urgent matters, but we often need to proactively tackle important matters, even as urgent things clamor for our attention. People often get carried away from their real goals and values by prioritizing the urgent over the important. It's like being in a constant state of emergency. But as Drucker once again wisely put it, effective people don't solve problems. They pursue opportunities. They feed opportunities and starve problems. Take a moment to reflect on the question posed at the start. Which quadrant do your answers fit into? Chances are, they fall into quadrant 2, deeply important, but not urgent. And because they aren't urgent, you don't do them. Consider the story of a group of shopping center managers. They identified that building personal relationships with their tenants, the store owners within the center, would make a significant difference. Yet they spent less than 5% of their time on this quadrant 2 activity. Their time was consumed by urgent problems, reports, meetings, calls, interruptions. However, they chose to be proactive. They committed to spend 1/3 of their time improving their relationships with tenants. Over the span of a year and a half, their time spent with tenants increased to 20%. They became listeners and consultants to their tenants. The impact was momentous. Tenants were ecstatic with the new ideas and skills the owners brought them. Sales in the stores escalated, and so did revenues from the leases. To condense, the key points discussed today revolve around the concept of putting first things first. It's about self-management, organizing and executing around priorities, and understanding the distinction between urgent and important tasks. It's about being proactive and focusing on opportunities rather than problems. And as the story of the shopping center managers illustrates, it's about recognizing the importance of relationships and dedicating time to nurture them. Remember, we don't manage time, we manage ourselves. So take charge, prioritize, and see the difference it makes in your life.
What legacy would you like to leave behind? And how would you like to be remembered? These are questions that many of us ponder, but often push to the back of our mind. But what if we were to turn these questions into a guiding principle of our daily lives? Think of it this way. Imagine you're at a funeral, your own funeral. As you sit through the eulogies, what would you want your loved ones to remember about you? What impact would you want to have made in their lives? This thought experiment is more than just a reflection on mortality. It's a powerful tool that illustrates the concept of beginning with the end in mind. Beginning with the end in mind is the second habit of effectiveness. It's about understanding your destination so you can better navigate your current situation and make the next right move. It's easy to become ensnared in the daily grind, constantly climbing the ladder of success, only to realize that the ladder is leaning against the wrong wall. Effectiveness doesn't come from just being busy. It comes from aligning your actions with your ultimate goals. And to do that, you need to start with a personal mission statement. A personal mission statement isn't just a list of goals. It's a declaration of who you want to be and what you want to achieve. Consider the mission statement of my friend Rolf Kerr. Succeed at home first, seek and merit divine help. Remember the people involved, develop one new proficiency a year, hustle while you wait, keep a sense of humor. A personal mission statement becomes your constitution, a changeless core that helps you navigate through life's changes. It's a beacon that keeps you centered on your principles, preventing you from veering off course due to external circumstances. This is essential because a life centered on anything other than principles often leads to instability and dissatisfaction. For instance, being spouse-centered often results in emotional dependence, making both partners vulnerable to each other's moods. Being money-centered can lead to disregarding family or other priorities, assuming that everyone understands the economic demands come first. And being pleasure-centered often results in a lethargic mind and spirit, leaving the heart unfulfilled. In contrast, a life centered around correct principles provides a solid foundation, unaffected by the changing tides of life. These principles remain constant, providing a reliable guide through life's ups and downs. To sum up, beginning with the end in mind is about understanding the legacy you want to leave behind and aligning your actions accordingly. It's about developing a personal mission statement that reflects your character and aspirations. And most importantly, it's about centering your life around principles that remain constant despite life's inevitable changes. So remember, don't just climb the ladder of success without knowing where it leads. Begin with the end in mind, and every step you take will bring you closer to your true destination.
Have you ever pondered on why it's so crucial to grasp others' perspectives before pushing forward with your own? This question isn't just philosophical. It has a profound practical application in our everyday lives, especially when it comes to honing the art of empathic listening. Dive into the tale of a real estate broker from Chicago. It's a story that beautifully illustrates the power of empathic listening. This broker, after 6 months of grueling work, was on the edge of sealing a significant deal. But as fate would have it, his clients began to show a sudden disinterest. Another agent swooped in with an alternative offer, and the broker's hard work seemed to be slipping away. With all his sales techniques exhausted and his hope dwindling, the broker decided to switch gears. He turned to his clients and said, "Allow me to understand your position and your concerns about my offer." By stepping into their shoes and echoing their worries, he started to see the situation from their perspective. What happened next was nothing short of a miracle. The client, feeling heard and understood, stood up in the middle of their conversation, walked over to the phone, and dialed his wife. As he waited for her answer, he told the broker, "You've got the deal." This broker's story showcases the transformative power of empathic listening. But what exactly is it? Empathic listening goes beyond merely hearing the words that someone is saying. It involves listening with your ears, eyes, and heart, feeling the emotions, and grasping the meaning behind the words. It's about understanding the other person, both emotionally and intellectually, without any judgment or intent to convince. What makes empathic listening so potent? It gives you accurate data to work with instead of projecting your own thoughts and motives onto the other person. This way, you can work productively with someone and make meaningful emotional deposits into your relationship with them. Think of empathic listening as providing psychological air. Just like how you'd only care about getting air if it were suddenly sucked out of your room, when a person's need to be understood is met, you create an atmosphere of trust. This trust then paves the way for productive conversations and agreements. So remember, understanding is a two-way street. Before seeking to be understood, try to understand others first. Tune into the world of empathic listening and witness the profound impact it can have on your relationships, your negotiations, and your life. The story of our real estate broker is a testament to this concept. When technicalities are on par, it's the human dynamic that tips the scale. And empathic listening is the key to unlocking this dynamic.
Have you ever pondered the true essence of a win-win situation? Does it merely entail two parties both gaining something, or is there more depth to it? Today we delve into the intriguing concept of win-win in relationships and business and explore the interconnectedness with the emotional bank account. Imagine a scenario where a young entrepreneur, let's call him John, signs a lucrative deal with a well-established firm. Just weeks into the partnership, the firm's management changes, and the new executives aren't as enthusiastic about the agreement. John, despite having a legally binding contract, chooses to back out, refunding their investment in order to maintain a positive relationship. Sounds counterintuitive, doesn't it? But this is a perfect example of the win-win principle in action. John's decision may seem like a loss initially, but it's a strategic move that pays off in the long run. A few months down the line, the same firm, now under stable management, approaches John for a much bigger deal. By choosing to prioritize relationship over immediate gain, John secured a larger contract and reinforced trust with his business partner. This is where the concept of the emotional bank account comes into play. Just as we deposit and withdraw money from a financial bank, we deposit and withdraw trust in our personal and professional relationships. A kind gesture, a fulfilled promise, or even an apology are all deposits into this account, increasing the trust level. On the contrary, disrespect, betrayal, or dishonesty are withdrawals, reducing the trust level. John's decision to refund the firm's investment was a significant deposit into their emotional bank account. It demonstrated his integrity, respect for the partnership, and commitment to their satisfaction. This investment of trust paid off when the firm chose to do business with him again. The win-win principle is not just about mutual gain, it's about mutual respect and long-term relationship building. It's about understanding that every interaction impacts the emotional bank account. It's about realizing that a win for the other party is not a loss for you, but an opportunity for growth, trust, and future collaboration. In essence, the win-win principle and the emotional bank account are two sides of the same coin. They work together in harmony, creating a cycle of trust, respect, and mutual benefit. And remember, if a deal doesn't result in a win-win, it's better to have no deal at all. So next time you find yourself in a negotiation or a partnership, remember John's story. Remember to think win-win, to make deposits into the emotional bank account, and to prioritize relationships over immediate gain. For in the end, success is not just about winning, it's about helping others win too.
What if the secret to your success is not working harder but working smarter? Picture this, a man in the woods, laboring tirelessly to cut down a tree. He's been at it for over 5 hours, his muscles aching and his brow drenched in sweat. Yet, he refuses to pause, insisting he's too busy sawing. But what if he took a moment to sharpen his saw? His task would undoubtedly become easier, more efficient, and less strenuous. This is the essence of self-improvement and personal growth, taking the time to sharpen your own saw. The saw in this case is you, and sharpening it means renewing ourselves in 4 essential aspects: physically, mentally, socially, and spiritually. Physically, this means prioritizing exercise, proper nutrition, and stress management. Mentally, it's about indulging in reading, visualizing, planning, and writing. Socially and emotionally, it signifies service, empathy, synergy, and security. And spiritually, it's about spending time on spiritual reading, study, and meditation. When it comes to self-improvement, being proactive is key. Only you can make the time and effort to sharpen your saw. For example, exercise might seem like a time-consuming task, but in reality, dedicating 3 to 6 hours a week to physical activity has a profound impact on the remaining 162+ hours of your week. Just as the man in the woods must take a break to sharpen his saw, so must you find time to read for your work, plan your day, and take care of your spiritual needs. It's crucial to strike a balance and not neglect your personal life in favor of your professional one. There's a story of a man named Arthur Gordon, who found his enthusiasm for life waning. A doctor advised him to spend a day in the place where he had been happiest as a child and to open a series of prescriptions at specific times. His first prescription simply read, "Listen carefully." For 3 hours, Gordon listened to the waves on the beach, and in doing so, he found a growing peace within him. The moral here is that self-improvement and personal growth are not about constant labor or exertion. Instead, they are about taking time to sharpen your saw, to renew yourself in various aspects of life, and to listen carefully to the world around you. By doing so, you'll find that your work becomes more efficient, your life more balanced, and your spirit more at peace. So remember, the secret to success might not be working harder, but working smarter.